Now let's talk about digital nomads. And you might think like, oh, Laurent, why are you talking about digital nomads in a course about company setup in Hong Kong and maintenance and accounting and tax? I'm like, well, the reason why I'm talking about digital nomads is because a lot of my clients are digital nomads and they use Hong Kong structure. And I have seen a lot of things going on with those guys and a lot of misconception that I would like to clarify here. Because many people think of Hong Kong as a good strategy for digital nomads, and they're totally right. But where they're not right is about the digital nomad itself. So let's have a look. So the first thing is that what is a digital nomad? Well, a digital nomad is a person that will work with technology, basically like an affiliate marketeer, an e-commerce, a consultant, somebody that gives courses online or things like that. So basically somebody that is not tied to a brick and mortar location, somebody that can do his work anywhere on the world. Could be also a photographer or a blogger, YouTuber, and things like that. So basically, digital nomads are people that are not tied to a place. They can travel. So if you're not tied to a place, what's the point to stay in a foggy, rainy place, where you could basically get your butt on the beach and work from there? And that's their logic. And I mean, I can't blame them really. So they actually go to Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, Colombia. So South America, Southeast Asia are quite popular place. Africa sometimes is also a place where they like to go, but in a lesser extent, I think. Some of the digital nomads also start to use digital nomads as a tax strategy. Okay, not all of them do it. Some just accept to be tourists and basically, they pay their tax home. But some actually use it as a strategy for tax purpose, tax planning. And what they believe is that if you don't stay 182 days in a place, then you don't have to pay tax there. You're not tax resident there. You don't have to pay anything. And basically, that's kind of wrong, actually. First, some country will tax you before the 182 days. And second, is not because you don't stay somewhere for less than 182 days that you are not a resident of this country. Okay, there are other criteria. So they just look at one criteria, but there's many others. So that's what I want to clarify here. If you plan to become a digital nomad, be smart. It's not because you don't stay 6 months in one place that you are not tax liable anywhere. Because what your taxman will look at as well is first is if you're a citizen of the US or Eritrea, you have to pay worldwide income. So this is solved. The other thing is that if you are from somewhere else, and you're trying to see like where are you resident, etc., your taxman will look at other things, not only the 182 days. Obviously, if you stay 182 days in a place, your likelihood to pay tax there is fairly high, okay? But if you don't stay 182 days, there is also other criteria. For example, where is the center of vital or economic interest? Okay, so what is that? Well, imagine that you are from, I'm from Belgium, so imagine I don't have anything in Belgium except my family there, but no assets or something. But imagine I have, So I have a house that's worth, I don't know, 300,000 euros, and I have another smaller house that worth 200,000 that I rent and get income from it. Okay, and I have nothing else around the world, just there. And then I decide to go in Thailand and spend my time there and travel between Thailand, Vietnam, and Philippines, and don't stay 182 days in a year in any of those places. Well, okay, great, but Belgium will be like, come on, are you kidding me? Where is the place where you have all your interests, all your vital interests, all your economic interest? Okay, so the economic interest is really obvious because I have like all my assets will be in Belgium. So go and prove that you don't have anything to do with it. It's not gonna work. Vital is a bit different also. Sometimes imagine that I have my wife living in Belgium and my daughter going to school in Belgium, but I'm never in Belgium. Well, my main interest still is in Belgium. My whole family is there. Okay, so you can see there's other criteria. Sometimes when things are not clear neither, what the taxman will use is the Adobe. And what is the Adobe is where citizenship or permanent home ownership is vague or is shared between multiple states. A person's tax residency can be determined based on state in which he spends most of the time. So this is the Adobe. So another thing also I noticed from the tax, the digital nomads that use this lifestyle as a tax strategy, is that they don't become resident of the place where they are. No, they just go there as tourists. Okay, but if they spend too much time there, they could actually become liable to tax there, because that would be the place where they spend most of their time. So it's a bit dangerous. I know people that stay like 5 months in Thailand every year, and the rest of the time they travel around. I mean, okay, but it's a bit dangerous as well. Now, it's still Thailand. You will tell me they won't really check everything, and they're happy you go there and spend your money, but in theory it's a little bit dangerous there. Also, for your country of citizenship, where you come from, and where you were last resident, they may actually consider you as a tourist if you don't have any other place of residency. Because one of the conditions in certain country to become non-resident of that country is to prove that you are resident somewhere else. And many digital nomads are not resident from anywhere else. So you had some people I know in Canada, for example, that get really bad surprise coming back and having to pay 10 years of tax at once, because Canada were actually considering them as tourists for 10 years. They have been traveling around, but they were resident nowhere, so they were still resident of Canada. So you have to be extremely cautious with digital nomads. And nowadays, with the CRS, FATCA, etc., this whole thing is becoming so transparent that it's becoming really dangerous to not comply with those rules. Now, people tell me sometimes, no, Laurent, you're wrong. I know so many people doing it. They live in Thailand and don't pay tax anywhere. They even have a company in Hong Kong where they pay no tax. Well, two things there. Actually, three. One is just put two together. It's the legality. It's not because you don't get caught that it's legal. It's not because if you commit thievery and or robbery and you don't get caught, that doesn't mean it's legal. That just means you get away with it. And now, as I said before, with all this transparency, the whole fog is dissipating, and now everything becomes really visible and transparent. When your country the country where you are from, the country of citizenship and of last residence, will receive information about where you have your accounts and what you do, etc. They will start asking questions, and this is really dangerous. The other thing is there's no 0% tax in Hong Kong. Again, this is the offshore tax exemption. So if you wonder what is it, go back to the offshore tax exemption section. I won't repeat here, but it's not 0% tax. Now, my advice for digital nomads is that you want it clear and you want to define it in your own term. Because basically you are like an island lost in the middle of the ocean with no owner. And it's really bad idea, because that means if there is no owner, is that anybody can claim ownership over you, So the best thing is that go and be proactive about it. Choose who you want to pay tax to, and this is something that you can do, So be really smart, Don't just think that, okay, I'm in a gray area, nobody will figure out. That's a bad idea, because if somebody figure out at a point, you will be in trouble. So you want to make it clear and define it in your own terms.